because I know you're talking about the stadium and a hotel as if they have the same economic value. The stadium construction is worth over $2 billion, and that is going to have a PLA on it with only carve outs for $15 million or less work. That is all union.
I get it.
$2 billion. Okay, so what the commitment that you made when you left my office was for the adjacent hotel to have.
And then I followed up just for clarification, because
Yeah.
my understanding was for hotels, and then I thought we were on the same page, and this is why it feels like sometimes the goalpost is moving.
I feel that way right now.
Okay, and did I not share that my understanding is that this should apply to all hotels?
But you did. You clarified that
Yes.
after all of us were in a room and we talked about the adjacent hotel. But I understand the clarification. I appreciate it, but it did move. But I want to say this, Councilmember, because we have to strike a balance. And what we tried to do is strike a balance. And we have that opportunity because we're talking about a whole campus.
I get it.
And fully, if this is, I'm forgetting the total construction number now, over $4 billion worth of construction, we have the opportunity to have a PLA on the biggest portion. And so now what we're talking about is maybe it's a $60 million hotel, maybe it's a smaller hotel. I think only really one is envisioned right now, and that's the commitment that is being made here. But to suggest that the union labor, and I know you're kind of not agreeing that fewer DC residents work on union jobs, that's a fact.
But
I know you're not agreeing, excuse me, I know you're not agreeing that CBEs can't participate on those jobs. That's a fact. Like, it's a fact.
But we're being disingenuous because—
No, I'm not. I'm not attempting to be.
But when we discuss this, the reason why in the commitment letter, there is now a threshold percentage that says 51% of the labor participation has to be Washingtonians is because we've had this discussion. I agree with you fully.
Right.
We want district residents to benefit from this job.
This is a trigger, right? You meet 50%, you have a PLA. You have a PLA, you meet, like, so we need to figure that out for that one.
No, but I mean, I get that we're moving the goalpost again,
No,
but I
I'm
just
not.
want to
No,
square
no,
the point
I'm
that
not.
you just made, that it runs counter, like, because you're giving the talking point that these jobs are not for district residents.
Don't disrespect me like
but
that,
we
Mr.
fixed
Parker.
that by—
I don't do talking points. I'm giving you facts.
We fixed the talking point that was just provided about these won't be for district residents
Okay, I'm done.
by putting 51% in the commitment letter. That's the reason why we did that. And so I get that that is a common refrain about labor in this DC context, and we reject that.
In what context?
In our local
In the
context.
DC context, that's where we live.
That's
That's
my
who I
point.
represent.
So maybe we're talking
What
past
context
each
are you
other.
talking about?
I'll bring the temperature down. I think we're talking past each other. My point is—
I think you are trying to suggest that if I am arguing for DC residents being
That's not
hired
it.
and DC businesses being used, that some DC context is illegitimate. And that is disrespectful to the people we represent.
So that may work well in this room. My point is, we talked about this yesterday at length. You and I had, I think, 2 or 3 conversations in the evening yesterday. So let's level set with the public. This is not a new conversation. And my point is, because I recognize the validity of the concern that these jobs need to go to district residents, we've already addressed that by saying the majority need to go to district.
We might have addressed that. We might have addressed that.
So then why do we then revert back to the talking point that it may not go to district residents if we've already put language in the commitment that it must, in order for these things to apply?
Mr. Parker, if past is prologue, those commitments have been made previously and not met on our projects. Not on the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge, not at Nats Park, and not at the hospital. That's a fact.
If we are putting it in the language of the law, and that was going to be another one of my questions, but I'm out of time, I expect that is what we're going to hold our labor partners to.
So I want to level set, because I don't want anybody to be left with the impression that I don't keep my word. You left my office. You said that you would support labor PLA on the adjacent hotel with the stadium.
And then
And
shortly,
then you left, I don't know what happened, but then you kind of retraded it with us after I had communicated, well, actually, we were all together.
we were all together.
And that is what we communicated to the chairman and others, and that's why it's in the letter that you see. That's why. So
Missing in that timeline is that we also had three
Councilmember.
additional phone conversations about this very thing. I don't want to be on the opposite side here. My point is, I think we are fighting for the same thing, which is district residents to benefit from this deal.
well, we are fighting for fairness.
That's
That's what
right.
I'm fighting for.
That's
That
what I'm
doesn't
fighting
mean
for.
all PLA
Councilmember.
on the entire campus.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Councilmember.
That is what you're talking about.
Okay.
That's what
Councilmember,
you said.
The way the clock works, or at least the way I use the clock, if you say something and there's like 10 seconds left, whoever's at the table gets the next 2, 3, 4 minutes, but your time's up. So
Understood.
now there is another round, although a few members, and I was told hearsay that you were one who thought maybe the second round could be 5 minutes.
I
instead
think
of
it
10
should be shorter.
All right, we'll see.
thank you.
I'm glad we're all having fun, and I'm glad we're using the goalpost analogy because that is, I think, relevant to football. Yes. So next in the lineup